Welcome back to the Game Loop, where we break down all the big gaming news you need to know. And this week, I'm telling it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's felt like nonstop. From legal battles to new console rumors.
To even Elon Musk getting involved in the gaming world? I mean, what?
Seems like everyone wants a piece of the action right now.
Absolutely. So let's start with probably the biggest headline, at least from the legal side. Nintendo versus, well, pirates.
Ah, yes. And Nintendo's really coming down hard on the whole piracy thing, taking aim at the Switch Pirates subreddit, and it's a pretty major escalation.
Major's putting it lightly. We're talking 200,000 subreddit members, and Nintendo's not just going after them, but also huge companies.
Right, like Google, Discord, even GitHub. Nintendo claims they're all aiding in the distribution of pirated games.
And this isn't even their first run-in with this subreddit, is it?
Nope. They already went after James Archbox Williams, one of the moderators, and this current lawsuit actually stems from that, building on the whole pirate shops thing that came up during that case.
It's crazy. They're requesting access to so much user data. I mean, is that even legal?
Well, Nintendo argues it's necessary to identify those responsible and hold them accountable. But yeah, it does raise some concerns about how far a company can go in the name of protecting its IP.
Especially since you look at Nintendo's financials, they're projecting like 8.4 billion in sales for 2024.
It makes
you wonder if this is all a bit excessive.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how it all plays out. But speaking of Nintendo, let's move on to something a bit more fun. Rumors about the Switch 2 are really heating up.
Oh yeah, the leaks are coming fast now. A possible March 2025 release date, backwards compatibility, a killer OLED screen. I'm already sold.
And there's even talk of a dual processor setup, one for handheld mode, one for docked. Imagine the performance boost.
My head's spinning. Plus, redesigned Joy-Cons, larger magnetic attachments. Sounds like they're finally addressing the drift issue.
Hopefully they've learned their lesson. But hey, Nintendo might not have the handheld market all to themselves for long.
What you mean besides mobile gaming?
Well, word on the street is Sony's cooking up their own standalone portable PlayStation 5, a real competitor to the Switch.
Oh wow, now that's interesting, because the PlayStation Portal, that's just a streaming device, right?
Exactly. This would be a whole different beast, potentially with the full power of the PS5 packed in. Though Sony does have a mixed history with handhelds.
Yeah, the PSP did pretty well, but the Vita, not so much.
They'll need to nail it this time. And then there's Microsoft, who've also hinted at an Xbox handheld. The handheld wars are about to get real.
Intense. But while we wait for all that next-gen tech, there's still plenty to get excited about in the world of RPGs.
Oh, absolutely. Baldur's Gate 3 is getting a massive update. 12 new subclasses, a photo mode, finally crossplay.
Crossplay at last. I've been waiting for that. Plus those subclasses, I can already feel a new playthrough coming on.
Well, Baldur's Gate 3 has been incredibly successful for Lorien Studios. Their profits for 2023 were through the roof, and these additions will only make it bigger.
Speaking of RPG giants, The Witcher 4 has officially entered full production. CD Projekt Red's back at it.
They've definitely come a long way since the whole Cyberpunk 2077 launch. The game's actually doing really well now, especially with the Phantom Liberty expansion.
They've certainly learned from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what they do with The Witcher 4, especially since Geralt's not the focus this time.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest question mark. A whole new story in the Witcher universe. The possibilities are endless.
Can't wait. But on a more, maybe less celebratory note, live service games seem to be hitting a rough patch.
It does feel like the hype's dying down. We've seen cancellations, high-profile flops like that Sniper Elite Battle Royale and PlayStation's Concord.
And it seems like even big companies like Tencent are pulling back on funding.
It's tough out there, especially for smaller studios. Even Mass Effect veteran Mac Walters, his new Studio Worlds Untold, had to pause operations while they search for new funding.
Wow, that's rough. But at least there's still innovation happening. Ubisoft is reportedly working on a new social sim.
Oh yeah, the one that's like Animal Crossing meets Minecraft. That sounds wild.
Right, and it has these crazy NPCs called Matterlings. Imagine like Funko Pop figures crossed with everything. Polar bears with dragon wings.
I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. But okay, before we run out of time, we got to talk about Elon Musk's announcement.
Oh yeah, the billionaire in the room. Launching an AI-powered game studio to make games great again. Okay then.
His whole critique of the industry being too woke and corporate-driven, it's A choice coming from him.
The irony's not lost on me. Plus, the whole AI thing feels very vague. Like, what does that even mean for game development?
A lot of people are skeptical. And for good reason. Game development is hard, even for someone with Musk's resources. We've seen companies like Amazon and Google struggle.
It'll be interesting to see if he can actually pull it off. But for now, it's mostly just speculation and, well, classic Elon Musk.
Exactly. We'll have to wait and see what actually comes of it.
It really makes you think, about how companies are navigating this whole evolving gaming landscape. Like, on one hand, you've got Nintendo fiercely protecting their stuff, but then they're also trying to stay ahead of the curves with new hardware.
Yeah, it's got to be a tough balance.
Yeah.
Speaking of staying ahead, have you seen this new Call of Duty skin?
It's causing quite a stir online.
Oh, the anime girl one with the cat ears.
Yeah, the Snowtime Showtime pack. It's so out there for Call of Duty. Kind of clashes with the whole, Warzone vibe.
Some people love it, some hate it. It's like a total 180 from that rose skin controversy a while back. Remember the one that blended too well with the environment?
Oh, yeah, that was a mess. This is almost the opposite, going full out wacky. I kind of dig it, actually.
It's interesting, right? Like, what do gamers really want? Realism, tactical advantage, or just pure fun and self-expression? This skin's definitely pushing some buttons.
But, on a less silly note, there's this new open-world survival crafting game that's got people talking. Tencent's Light of Motorum.
I saw that. The comparisons to Horizon Zero Dawn are, well, let's just say, noticeable.
Noticeable is one way to put it. Red-haired protagonist, robot creatures, post-apocalyptic setting. It's all a bit familiar, isn't it?
Some are calling it a straight-up ripoff. Others think it's a marketing ploy to drum up attention. Either way, Tencent's got everyone's attention.
And with their resources, it could be a real competitor, even if it borrows heavily from other games.
Speaking of borrowing, remember Pal World? The one that was basically Pokemon but not.
Oh yeah, that one. Nintendo's not going to let that slide, are they?
Doubt it. They're pretty protective of their IP. This could get messy.
It'll be fascinating to see how it plays out. This whole idea of where's the line between inspiration and copying.
Big questions for the industry. Meanwhile, Microsoft's facing their own battles with their App Store on Android. So they wanted to start selling Xbox games directly through their app, bypassing Google Play. But then Google appealed the ruling about those anti-competitive App Store fees, and everything's on hold.
Ah, so it's all tied up in the legal stuff. That's a bummer. Microsoft's been pushing hard to break into mobile gaming.
Definitely a setback, but I doubt they'll give up that easily. On a kind of related note, they're actually dismantling one of their own walled gardens.
What? Really?
Yeah, they're retiring the Xbox Avatar system, the newer one at least. The classic Xbox 360 avatars, those are staying.
Those were iconic. I remember spending hours customizing mine. It's a little sad to see them go, but I guess everything changes.
Nostalgia is a powerful thing. Speaking of moving on, the devs behind Lies of P, they're jumping ship from the Souls-like genre.
Already? I thought that game just came out.
It did, and it did really well. But for their next project, they're going full sci-fi survival horror. Quite the change.
Wow, that's a bold move. Shows they're not afraid to experiment.
And hey, Lies of P fans, there's still a DLC expansion coming early next year. The director teased it's going to be a big one, new areas, enemies, the whole shebang.
That's awesome. It's great when devs continue to support their games like that. But, it's not always about new stuff. Sometimes it's about how existing games evolve.
Oh, for sure. Games aren't static anymore. They're constantly being updated, changed based on player feedback.
Look at Minecraft. Over a decade old and still going strong. Always adding new things, reinventing itself.
And they finally released a native PS5 version. Took long enough.
Right. It's amazing how a game like that can just keep going. It really feels like there's something for everyone in gaming right now. New releases, updates, legal drama, even Elon Musk trying to shake things up.
It's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
So as we look to the future, what do you think? What are your predictions? What games are you excited about? Let us know on social media. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, join the conversation. And until next week, happy gaming.
Game on!